Test, test, test.
We got about 5 minutes. 7:30 actually.
Okay, let's get started. Make sure my mouse is in the right place. And next week, Zoom presentation, Scott Robert Lim. He was originally scheduled early in the season, back in June, and for various reasons, we had to reschedule. He's going to talk about how to shoot in hard light situations. And then the 6th, how and why I process my images, Confessions of a Digital Manipulator, Steve Ziegler. That should be interesting. And then our own Wally Nell is going to talk about sports, the triumph of the human spirit, December 13th. December 20th, we don't have anything scheduled yet, so we're going to have to put something up there, to be determined. Dennis and his mat cutting classes. We've got sessions scheduled for December 3rd and the 17th. If you haven't taken advantage of this already, I would highly recommend it. I went through the class. It was interesting. It's a great deal. For $3, once you've taken the class for $3, you can do a single mat. For $5, you can do a double mat. That's pretty inexpensive. It's the honor system. There'll be an envelope back there. Any night that the clubhouse is open, except like print night and board meeting night, you can come on in and cut your mats. Print night, it doesn't work because we're using the back room for judging. And then we're looking for some volunteers. Hospitality chair, Barb Pennington, after many, many, many years of devoted service, is stepping down after the cabin fever party in January. I hope to get somebody to volunteer before then so she can work, or he or she can work with, that was kind of sexist, wasn't it? He or she can work with Barb on the cabin fever party. Hospitality committee members to work alongside the chair. Towards the end there, Barb was doing it by herself, and that's kind of a lot to put on one person. So we're looking for committee members to work along with the hospitality chair. And I'm going to take another stab at this and start looking for a competition chair. I'm functioning as president and competition chair, and it's a bit much. So I really hope somebody steps up for competition chair. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Vicki. Vicki?
Okay. I'm just looking, okay, that's yours. What, oh, that's you.
That's me.
That's still you. All right. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi. Oh, this is the wrong one. Where's the, isn't this the wrong one? I was using a black one. I don't know. It was up here a little while ago. There we go. All right. So, I was asked to talk to you guys before competition. Okay, there we go. And so I thought, well, what would everybody like to hear about? You don't need to hear about my vacation photos again. So let's think of some things that you could do now that the weather is turning bad. It's already turned bad. And some things you can do inside that would be fun and would keep your interest in photography going. So these are the topics we're going to cover tonight: fractal toy abstracts, reflective surfaces, and painted flowers. So, you know, when you're not doing a lot of photography outdoors, you might want to think about photographing something you haven't really thought about before. This is a good way to fight those winter doldrums by doing an indoor photo project. You don't need a studio. It's all set up. You can really do these things anywhere. Doesn't matter what kind of camera you have. I use a macro lens for this because they're designed to focus up close, but you can also use extension tubes. You can rent a macro lens or use anything you've already got. I do suggest using a tripod because some of these are using long exposures, and then use a cable release or the camera timer so you don't move it when you do the shutter release. So here's some of the basic supplies that you would need for all of these things I'm going to show you. The main thing here is this trifold black display board. It's inexpensive, can be found at a Michael's, or there's probably more than Office Depot or Amazon too, but they're not expensive, and they just stand up nicely, and they make a nice background for a lot of different projects. I like to use black velvet for these particular things I'm going to show you because it prevents glare and really photographs well as a solid black background, whereas the blackboard can reflect some light. Sometimes you can get some gray. And by the way, all these notes are going to be available for you, so you don't need to worry about trying to remember or taking photos of all my screens. You can do that if you want, but you don't need to. Okay, so the light sources, I want to show you this particular one. Dennis found this last year, a couple years ago, on Adorama, and it's called Small Rig Selection. It extends, you can fold it, you can turn it. I don't want to blind anybody here. It's got several different light settings, and it's got a couple of color settings as well. So it's very handy, and you'll see it's in all of the ones that I'm going to show you tonight. Folds right up. It's rechargeable. It charges in your computer, or if you have a plug, you can put that USB into it. It'll go right into the wall as well. And you can use it while you're charging it. So it's a pretty nice little light. It's at Adorama for $40. When I looked on the Small Rig website, I didn't find it. So it's either a different company or it's no longer being made. So if you're interested in it, I wouldn't wait too long to get them at Adorama. They are available. The other one that I like is the Lume Cube. It's very small. I didn't bring it, but it's like that big. And you can get colored gels for them that are magnetic, go on the outside there, and diffusion caps. They also have really small, like credit card size panels and larger panels too. They have all kinds of lights, but I've used the Lume Cube for quite a while now. So let's talk about the Fractal Fidget Toy and the Gear Ball. These are 3D printed devices, toys, really for meditation, stress relief, that kind of stuff. So this is the Fractal Toy, and if you move it, then you get these different patterns, and the shape will change. So I have tried putting it on refrigerator bowls or what have you, but setting it on the light, so I set it right on that Small Rig light, and you'll see that in a minute. Then the light shines through, and then you can get some interesting abstracts. The Gear Ball I found because I was looking that up, and I found that on YouTube, trying to find something easy that I could show you guys. So the Gear Ball is another, got to be careful not to pinch your fingers in it, but you just basically move this around, and then you get these different patterns. So I'll show you the results of that. They come in different sizes, different colors. I would suggest the largest that you can get. Again, Amazon. So this is the setup. I actually have two of them, but I like the bigger one because it doesn't have any light bleed around the edges. The smaller one, it makes it more difficult to get a nice clean image if the light is kind of coming around on the edges. So they're inexpensive, $8 to $15. You can find them in a number of different sites. So that's the Small Rig on its side on a TV tray, and then you can put it on anything really. Then you just move it around and get your different angles. Your aperture is personal choice, but for this, I like to have as much in focus as I can. So I set it, my macro lens will go to f32, so I was using anywhere from f22 up to f32. Setting the ISO low so you don't get noise with it, and then of course with that, then I'm using a tripod. If I'm using a really small aperture, then I'm going to need more shutter speed length. So on the left there, I just put it on the small refrigerator bowl, nothing behind, no light behind it. This is just window light coming in. And then the one on the right where you see the different shades there, that's the light coming through. So then here's a couple more with the backlight from the small rig. And then the one on the bottom here, I'm using the Lume Cube then, because you can get some shadows on some areas where the light is not shining through. So if you use another source above it, you can then, this area in here on the right, it kind of glows a little bit then from the Lume Cube. But if you run out of compositions with the Fractal Toy, then you can make an orb in Photoshop, and that's what that is. That is from the first, that's this one on the left, that became that orb. And when you get an orb, to do an orb is actually a circle, but I didn't care for how that looked, so I just cropped it in so you don't see the whole circle. But I think that's kind of cool. So there's a lot of variety, just play around with it. So then the gear ball is, I actually had more fun with the gear ball. So you just open it up, and I just kind of moved it around and then tried photographing it. The setup is really not that crucial with this. You can kind of do whatever you want, but I set up the black trifold, and then I put the black velvet in front of it, and then I took a piece of black matte you could use that I set it on. Then you could use different backgrounds or different base. You could do white, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I just was trying it so that I could show you guys what the results would be. And then on the bottom there, I just had a piece of glossy black craft paper, is all that is, just to get a little bit of a reflection for it. And then you move your light around. You want to try avoid getting hot spots. So here's some results of it. And for me, they all look a little bit like birds. I see eyeballs, I see a beak there, crazy feathers, and this one over here to me is like a bird coming out of a shell, and I don't know what that one is down there, some sort of eyeballs. But so I'm trying, cropping in really close. So it's just fun. And then again, if you get kind of tired of that, there's one of them. And then I made an orb out of it, but the orb that I got, I didn't care for at all. So I made 3 copies of it, enlarged my canvas size, and flipped them and reversed them and all that stuff, so that then the one in the bottom there, that's the orb of the 4 copy up there. So here's instructions on making an orb. We're not going to go over it now because you'll get this. If you like doing it, it's kind of a little rabbit hole, so once you get going on it, you may wish you never had. So, okay, any questions on that? Well, it's pretty basic, pretty simple, but it's fun. You could use up a couple of hours easily on that. All right, now this one I really like. Any kind of still life. I'm partial to flowers, but I'm going to talk to you about the black acrylic, which is the base that I'm using there, and Mylar paper. You can use any kind of subjects, anything small. It's really about the reflections. So whatever type of subject you like is good. The black acrylic, you can get that on Amazon, about $35, 24 by 24, it's a good size. You get beautiful reflections with the black acrylic, but it scratches really easily, and you will not be able to keep the dust off. So either be prepared with your healing brush in Photoshop, or keep a cloth handy, you don't want to put water on it. Just a clean cotton rag is good. 1/8 of an inch, 3mm, works great. The Mylar paper is a little bit harder to find. I got it, a roll of it like 3 years ago, and I got it on Amazon, but I could not find it on Amazon now. I did find it on this mygirlfriendshouse.com, but it wants you to buy 3 rolls at $15 a piece, so you might want to rethink that, but you might be able to find some at the dollar store. You just want the Mylar paper. It's just wrapping paper. You want about 24 inches wide. It doesn't really matter how many, feet or yards are on the roll, just enough to kind of unwrap it for a while, and you want that silver on the inside. So the setup for this, again, is the trifold board and the black velvet. And then you want that black velvet to be tucked underneath the board, and then you put that acrylic up against the velvet. You don't want any light bleed at the bottom or any kind of line, from your table or anything like that. So you want it up against each other. And then you've got the light source. I use the small rig for everything I'm showing you. And then I would definitely put the camera on the tripod, and you can see I'm fairly close to the flower here. So you want to experiment with your angles, but I find that a lower angle is better. You'll get more reflection, unless the reflection that you're really looking for, that you need to be higher. For the most part, I'm sitting down and shooting not quite parallel, slight angle, but just play with that. F-stop depends on what kind of look you're looking for. With this passion flower, I want to see detail in all those little frilly things in there, and so it was as much depth of field as I could get. The ambient light is not helpful with this, so you might want to turn off the lights. I ended up closing the blinds and just use the light there and a longer shutter speed on the tripod. It works great. On the bottom, I had a light in the side and a light from behind to get that backlit sort of. So we play with all different things. So here's some other suggestions. Dried leaves, fruit. For me, the one up here on the top left, what I like about is I like to see these points of contact with the acrylic, because then you get really interesting reflections with a lot of depth. So that's what I like there. Notice that I keep the reflections darker than the subject, except this one on the right. This is laying on its side. I thought it looked kind of like a moth, so I turned it up, and so now you have some sort of little abstract there. There's a couple more subjects. 12 Days of Christmas there. Managed to squeeze those all in. And but it could be anything found of filigree leaf in the garden, and it was a lot of fun to photograph that. Reflections are great on that acrylic. For the Mylar paper, what's cool about this is these little wonky reflections you get as a result of the paper sort of moving. And you can use the black velvet, which I did a lot of the time, but you could also just put a background that you have, and it will reflect in the Mylar as well. I'll show you some examples of both. My Mylar roll is green on the outside, but it could be any color. And if I need a lot more space for that reflection, I'll let it drop down off the table. It depends on how big of a table you're using it on. In this case, I put the TV tray under it so it doesn't just come apart and fall on the floor. So here's some more examples. For me, it's the reflection of the vase and the pumpkin here in the middle. I see a seahorse head there. I don't know what the rest of the animal is, but it's some sort of crazy seahorse. And then it's hard to beat a weird reflection like that pear. So it's just fun to see what you get, and I really enjoy the results from those. If flowers aren't your thing and you're not that crazy about the wonky part, just turn it over, and there's the color of the Mylar. reflecting up into the silver of those subjects. So there's lots of things you can do once you get going, the ideas come, and it's a good way to spend some time learning your camera. And then here's a couple with an alternate background. In this case, this I made a watercolor background, and then it's reflecting in the Mylar, and then you get these crazy reflections. Any questions on that before I go to the last topic? Cool. All right, so what this involves is just putting some flowers in an aquarium, and then you drop acrylic paint into the water, and then you photograph it as it moves through the flower. So again, fun, something different. This is actually the back of this flower. I'll talk about that more when I talk about the setup. So you need an aquarium, $12. You want at least 11 inches high. You don't want too big of an aquarium because you're probably going to have to carry that thing when it's full of water. So don't overdo, unless you have a hand cart, you want to wheel it around. I've got to be able to get it from the sink in the shop over to the table that I'm doing. So depending on where you're setting up, you might want to set up on your kitchen counter if you can. Then the other thing you need is a Kenzen. It's also known as a floral frog. What this does is it holds the flowers in place, and it's kind of weighted. It's used for flower arrangement. It's used in Japanese ikebana style. Be very careful with them because they're quite sharp, because you're going to shove the stem of the flower down on top of it. It's got to hold it. You need something at least this big that's weighted enough to hold it. I always put it in face down. This came as a set with these little ones. These are pretty useless because they don't have the weight to hold up a flower. There's 2 of them, but I'm thinking, oh great, I've got 3. Put a flower in there, right over. So I did see somebody that actually glued the small one to a rock that made it heavy enough, so you could do that. But this is like 2 inches across. So that comes in handy if you're doing other flower photography, by the way. But they're inexpensive, as you can see. You also need paint, acrylic paint. You don't need great quality paint. I have the least expensive Michaels paint, $2.50 for 2 ounces. It's not going to break the bank. You need pipettes to drop the paint down in. Amazon, $8, probably a couple of years worth if I did this project a lot. You're only going to use a few each time. So here's the setup for this one. Again, the black trifold board. And the reason I have that there is to block out the light around it. You don't want glare. You've got glass you're working with, so you don't want glare on that glass. I put a white foam core board behind the back of it. Filled the aquarium and set it in front, and then it's really hard to see, but I have white boards, just mat boards on either side of the aquarium. And then I put the lights, I have 2 of them, lean them down into the water, and that way I'm not getting the glare on the front of the glass. You don't want to aim the light at the glass, because you'll just reflect the light, and then you'll see yourself and your camera and everything in it. I had no problem with glare when I did it this way. Now, when you're picking the flowers that you want to use, the larger flowers are easier to work with. You could do an arrangement of flowers, but I would just start with one. Choose a flower that has some kind of curved stem because you want it curving towards the camera in the front of the aquarium. And you want to avoid flowers with a hollow stem. So if you're buying flowers at the grocery store, take a look at the bottom. If they're hollow, they won't fit on the Kenzen very well, because the Kenzen needs something to kind of grab onto. So the process is put the flower on the Kenzen and then put it in the aquarium. You can see the mess I made here, so you want to have a towel nearby. Your hand is going in and out of the aquarium. set the camera so it's parallel. You don't really want that up or down angle. Set your focus, and then once you've done that, you really don't have to play with focus after that. And then your aperture is really, you're going to be covering up a lot of the details of the flower, but you still want to be able to see what it is. A slower shutter speed is fine because it's capturing the motion of that paint as it's coming down into the water. Once you get those decided on, then you decide on your ISO. So plastic cups, there's the Kinsen there. So why is the Kinsen out there and the flowers in the tank? I had to use something else because that had a hollow stem. And I can't remember what I used to keep it in there. The Kinsen's sitting right there on the right. There's the pipettes. You put maybe a quarter little blob of paint in your cup, and then, as you can see, maybe a quarter of the cup, fill it up with water. You don't need a lot of paint, and you don't have to fill the cup up with water. Then you take draw the diluted paint with the pipette, and then squeeze it into the water. And so this is what it looks like at the beginning. Even though that's a white board behind there, it looks kind of gray. And that's just because the light isn't hitting the board directly, it's coming down from the top. So you just fill the tank with more paint until you're getting the background that you want. So here's a couple of examples. Start photographing as soon as the paint is falling in. When it looks like it's pretty well finished, then you just squeeze some more in. And you want to put the paint fairly close to the glass, but you don't want it stuck between the flower and the glass. So this all just requires some experimentation, and it's actually really a lot of fun. And you look at it and you go, "Ooh, that's kind of cool." You can add more colors. Definitely want to buy white paint, but you can see I have a couple of other colors: yellow, purple, red. Once the tank is pretty cloudy and you don't really see swirls anymore, take the flower out, empty it, and then you can start again. That's what I had to do between the yellow and the purple. So two separate shoots. And here's some more results. I think that's my last slide, so it is. Any questions about any of it? Thanks. Thanks. What was that, Paul?
Where do we find the presentation so we can get published?
The presentation will be available as soon as Dave puts it. He said he'll put it somewhere in the website.
I'll put it on the website, and there'll be a link on the front page to the PDF.
It's a PDF, and it's this entire thing, so. Okay?
I'll get it there tonight or sometime this weekend.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks. Thank you. I guess you could take a break now.
Just another couple of minutes. They're almost finished judging.
Yes, exactly like that. And then we gotta turn this on. Okay, good. And then
I'm just gonna hold it. It feels weird.
there, now you're muted. So whenever you need to start talking,
Well,
just once.
and then it goes,
Yep.
and then it goes green, and I'm good to go.
There you go.
Cool. Thank you.
So you know when you want to start talking, you gotta do is hit this button, just tap it at the top, and it'll turn green. And then you should. Yeah, just have you. Well, it depends if you, because well, so if you're talking amongst each other, that'll pick it up. So you don't want to. Well, I'm more worried about the recording. Thank you.
And managing to do okay despite having very little technical knowledge. I came from a curatorial background.
Or I'm not ashamed to admit I didn't say
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dan Sandy. I'm the Creative Competition Chair. Welcome to a lovely evening. Outside's awesome. Another great day to stay in. We actually had a really nice turnout tonight. Right around 75 images total, so I think we will probably have comments on all of them. As always, we judge our competitions on 3 different categories, or images on 3 different categories, being composition, impact, and technique. 3 total for each of those categories, for a total of 9 for a perfect score. And with that, I'm going to let the judges introduce themselves, starting with Nancy, because I actually know her name. I apologize to the other judges.
I'm George. What? No, I'm Nancy Ballock. Is it on? Okay. I have been a member here forever, and anyway, I teach the fundamentals class. I teach portraiture in the fundamentals class. I also am the photographer for Hale Farm, and they're having their lantern tours coming up in December, so kind of go on their website and check it out. If you've not done that before, it is a lot of fun to do. And I think that's just about it. Thank you. These pictures tonight were phenomenal. They were so good. I really enjoyed looking at them tonight. They're beautiful. Good job, you guys.
Okay. Hi. Wendy Hess. I hope this is working. Okay.
No, you just tap it. You're good. It's on.
Okay. Wendy Hess, and my background was as a curator at the Akron Art Museum. I got to curate a number of photography exhibitions there. And for the last few years, I've been doing some photography of my own and entering shows and exhibitions, and I really enjoy getting to judge here. Thank you.
I am. Can you hear me? You good? Yeah. Tom Fetsenko. I'm a freelance photographer, mainly work in the news industry and sports side of things. Work pretty much all over Northeast Ohio. You guys had some really nice images in here tonight. Look forward to giving some feedback on them. Great job, everyone.
And with that, we're going to start our creative portion of this competition. One of you guys could start.
One of the ends.
So I really liked this one. Definitely kind of has like some watercolor painting kind of feel to it. This was obviously some trees in the background, I think, at least of what it looks like. Wasn't quite sure about the red up in the middle at the top. I thought it was like a little bit distracting, just because it was so bright compared to the rest of the photo. But if that's the way the scene was, you can't really control that too much. But it was really cool. It's very creative. Like I said, definitely reminds me of like a watercolor painting.
Naked Saplings, Lance Mayer, 22 points, honorable mention.
Okay. I really like this image because as soon as you see it, it strikes you. It's bold, it's dynamic, and I kind of like the way that it's just a bit off balance there. I just found it to be one of the more striking images that I saw tonight and really enjoyed it.
Glowing UFO, Dan Sandy, 21 points.
I love to do ICM photography, and I love the colors in here. I love the depth in the background where you've got the beautiful amber colors and copper colors and oranges in the background. I think perhaps maybe I would have cut off a little bit of the bottom. It kind of is more distracting because I want to look more at the trees in the background. That the sky is gorgeous. And I know how hard it is to do something like this, to get a good ICM. You can take 100 shots, and maybe you see one or two that you really like that just has that right movement to it to make it interesting. But the colors in the background are just spectacular, and especially against, excuse me, the blue sky, the contrast of the colors is just wonderful.
Hey Nancy, what is the ICM, just for anybody that doesn't
Okay,
know, such as myself?
it's called intentional camera movement, and you just slightly move the camera just a little bit, but it depends on how much you move the camera to get this. You can tell what it is. Sometimes you can't. You'll get more of a flow going through your photograph. But this one is nicely done. And it takes a lot of practice, just trying to get the movement of your camera just right. I do mine with my cell phone with an app called Slow Shutter Cam that's really good. And I have a lot of fun with that.
Thank you. Field and Woods, Lance Mayer, 20 points.
The classic fireworks photo. I've taken so many of these over the years. I actually really like this one. The only real critique that I want to give on it is that I want to see more of the top of the firework. I didn't really like how it was kind of cut off. Maybe, I don't know if it was a crop, maybe a horizontal, or just going a little bit wider, different lens choice, taking some steps back. Whatever would have worked, but I really like it. It's fun. You got the trails of the individual pieces of the firework, which is what you want for that. Like I said, don't cut off the top of the firework. Show me the whole thing. That's my only real critique on that one.
Lens Baby Fireworks, Dan Sandy, 21 points.
This is another photo that I really liked. This one just kind of grabbed me. I'm not quite sure what this frothing detail is showing, but I really like it. I think it's kind of dynamic. And I like the variation in shade that you get from the front going to the back, where you get the redder tones. Not sure what else to say about it other than I did like the work quite a bit.
Milky Maelstrom, Bill Keaton, 22 points, honorable mention.
I thought this was rather dynamic. The water lily down at the bottom kind of catches your attention, and I like the exposure on the flower. And then your eye kind of goes up. If they didn't have those little butterflies in there, it would just be a big empty space behind it. And the butterflies are positioned nicely, and they're also subtle, so they don't scream out at you. So you're kind of looking at the flower, and then you look up at the butterflies maneuvering around the photo. It's very nice, very, very dramatic.
Do Flowers Dream, Bill Keaton, 23 points, honorable mention.
Yep.
This is a great shot. Everything tack sharp. The crop is good. The background jet black. It's a great shot, and I've never shot one of these before. This had to be pretty hard to get, right? Was this challenging? I'm not sure who did. But yeah, no, you did a really good job on this one. I like this a lot.
Blowing in the Wind, Chris Bosworth, 25 points, second place.
This is a really interesting shot of a flamingo close up. I believe that's got its head tucked behind the wing, and the detail is exceptional. The composition is really fine. I think it's very nice. It's a little flat just because the pink is so consistent throughout, but it's a really very nice shot, and a very non-traditional shot of bird, which I like too.
I See You, and that's EYE, just so you know. Eric Wethington, 24 points, third place.
I'm glad I got this one. My eyes are loving this photo. I love the colors. I love the movement through the photos. The colors are, there's a nice contrast between the colors, and it's just so pleasing. I think the title should be Joy. I don't know what, but it's just amazing. I'd love to have it on my wall, especially on gloomy days like this, and just sit there and look at it and feel happy. Beautiful.
I'm probably going to misspell this or mispronounce it, so my apologies, Chris. Chihuly Twirl, maybe? Chris Bosworth, 23 points, honorable mention.
So obviously we have a creative take on this. The top of the flower, the flower itself, everything's tack sharp on it. Color looks good, contrast looks good. It's a little dark towards the bottom of the photo. I would have bumped that up just a little bit more. The child in the swing, he wasn't really there swinging on the flower. We know that. I would just work on trying to blend that in a little bit better and getting the light and when you Photoshop that in, getting that just to match the lighting in the photo of the flower a little bit better, make it a little more convincing. But other than that, color's good, exposure's good, it's sharp, it's fun.
Levi Swing, Gary Merrick, 20 points.
This is a really dynamic portrait. The face in the center is just, really very fresh, very exciting looking, very sharply focused. And then having the colors radiating out from there, it creates, I think, a very bold, very exciting image that draws you in.
Purple Queen, Gary Merrick, 20 points.
The depth in this photo is really nice. You've got a lot of nice shadowed areas and a lot of nice light areas. There is some slight movement going across from right to left. And the bright yellow is really different. I don't know what kind of plant this is. You had mentioned
It's seaweed.
seaweed, yeah. And I don't know that I've ever seen it as yellow like this, but it's very interesting photo.
Sea Art by Mike, I think it's Lansdale, it might be Lonsdale, my apologies, 22 points, honorable mention.
So we have a portrait, some dancers on some stairs. Lighting's good, composition I think is good. I like to see a little bit more the top of the top of the door, right up the framing of the door, just a little bit. Feels like it kind of makes me wanting a little more, but yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a good shot.
Forever Bond, Susan Bestel, 22 points, honorable mention.
So we have another close-up of plants here, and I saw this one shortly after seeing the previous one, and I think the detail is lovely. It's a very, you're taking something small and kind of mundane and pulling out the detail, making it interesting. My only, issue with it is it does read a little flat. It reads flatter than the other one did. Overall, very nice work. Maybe, I don't know, the cropping would change it, but maybe a little closer and a little more detail. You think it's a perspective thing? Yep.
String Theory, Mike Lansdale, 22 points, honorable mention.
I love this. It's just so different. Like me. But anyway, the background almost looks like it's an ICM photo. And then you've got that flowy part of the railing, and it almost looks like, what was it, the Scream, the painting.
Yeah.
And,
The one-
yeah, and it's just wonderful. The colors are subtle, but yet they blend nicely together. I love the movement of the railing going from the person all the way to the back. The expression on the face is priceless. When it came up, we were just kind of chuckling. It was really cool. I love this.
Scream by Jill Zapka, 22 points, honorable mention.
So I'm a sucker for symmetry. This is cool. I really like the colors, the greens, the blues. There's pinks in there, purples, there's yellows. There's all kinds of color in this, and I love the symmetry. Like I said, I'm really curious as to what this was or what this is. Obviously, it's like a mirrored image thing you got going on, but wherever that was, I'm sure it looked really, really cool. And yeah, it's sharp. The composition's good. I think the crop is good on it. So yeah, you did a really good job.
I believe this is a R. Rookery Maze by Marge Brady, 23 points, honorable mention.
Okay, we have one that's very creatively altered here, and I thought it was very interesting having the person sleeping at the base of the tree. It reads, the whole thing kind of moves and flows. It's really a very pretty work. It's, I think, nicely composed. My only issue with it is I think you need a little more, I don't know, distinction between the different colors and tones because it tends to read a little flatter than it should. I think maybe if some things had been lightened up, brightened up, it would really pop. It's a nice work. I'd like to see just a little bit more of that highlighting.
If the person's the subject of the photo, they're kind of falling into the background a little bit. So if you were to do it again or tweak it a little bit, have that subject kind of be a little bit more upfront in the photo, not physically, but less part of the background, because color-wise, they're just falling off into the background.
Protector and Protected, Jill Zepka, 20 points.
This is a beautiful composite photo. The person that did this, the maker, got the lighting nice on the two dancers in the foreground to match beautifully with the background. And their positioning of the two dancers within the doorway was really nice too. It's subtle and it doesn't scream at you. The whole photo, it's just very, very nicely done. The editing is beautiful.
Elegant Pair, Susan Bestel, 21 points.
If I could just add a real quick comment on that one. The previous photo, when I mentioned the top of that door being a little dark and I kind of wanted to see a little more of that, you nailed it on that one. Definitely like a conceptual kind of photo here. I've seen people do this recently with sports images, making the people real tiny and their heads real big and stuff. Could be part of an advertising campaign for something. It's fun. It's different. I'm convinced by it. Your work on it is good because the lighting is consistent. You even went as far as getting the reflection in the top of the car of the hand is good, which if you're looking at that kind of stuff, like sometimes people miss that. So yeah, it's different. It's fun. I could see like an auto company using something like this for a quirky ad, It's cool.
Street scene, Mike Kopkis, 17 points.
This is one of maybe the only piece of portraiture that we had in this, and I think it's a really nicely done, straightforward portrait. I like the head-on stance. I like the detail. I like the strong contrast. I like having guardians in red. I wish it. Normally, I tell people I'd like to see things crop more. I think you need a little bit more space on the bottom, so it's not cutting right into the guardians,
Yeah, I would agree.
and maybe a tiny bit off on the sides.
Yeah.
This one might have, I believe, worked better as a vertical than a horizontal, but it's a very nicely done portrait overall.
I would agree with the vertical crop on that as well.
Team Pride, Melanie Plummer, 20 points.
This is a very interesting composite too. It was interesting how the maker of this photo decided where to place everybody or everything. The lion is nicely positioned over to the right. The little boy is not dead center in the photo, but he's kind of off to the left. So you've got rule of thirds going on here. The little boy is a little dark. It's hard to see him in the photo as much as you would see the lion. And I like the tree off to the side. It's just the individual placement is good.
Danger Unnoticed, Mike Kopkis, 20 points.
This one was one of my favorites of the nature-esque kind of photos we looked at. The tree is exposed very well. It's tack sharp where it needs to be tack sharp. I like what you did with the surrounding areas. Like I said, it has another kind of painting feel to it, which I like in this kind of stuff. I just would like to see a little more distinction from the background to the actual green grass ground where the tree is. I think if you just had a little more of a distinct line there, it'd be much better. But no, it's a great shot.
Ancient Olive Tree with Textile, Paul Giglia, 22 points, honorable mention.
I really love this image. Even without the bright colors there, I think the detail that you have in the old wall, having things like, the address, the archways, the windows, it's lovely. It gives a sense of place. And having the hanging laundry highlighted in vivid color, to me, worked really nicely against the gray. I overall enjoy this piece quite a bit. I like the composition. I like the idea.
Laundry Day in Italy, Paul Giglia, 23 points, honorable mention.
This, this black and white is lovely. There's so much detail in the leaves, and I like the light and shade in this. It's subtle. It doesn't scream at you. There's no hot spots in the white, and your eye just kind of undulates through the photo, going around. And I like the veining in the leaves is beautiful. The black background is amazing, and it's just nicely done. It's a beautiful black and white, very nicely done. It's gorgeous.
Ghost
I would
Orchid,
agree.
Jackie Bosinger, my apologies about that. Perfect score, 27 points. Jackie, are you here? Oh, all right, cool. I got a ribbon for you. There you go. Congrats.
Congrats. That was a very nice shot.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And that concludes the creative portion. We're going to hop, skip, and jump along to the pictorial. Just move this thing along. If everybody's cool with that,
We're cool.
excellent. Wouldn't have mattered. I'm just messing with you.
Good.
That's towards the end. The one that's up there is towards the end. It's up there on the screen. Big waterfall.
Yeah, that's not from this competition. You know what? Scroll down. I may have actually forgotten to clear this.
I was wondering if you both liked that one as much as I did. It's funny that looking at that one that you left, I figured that was probably taken at the Franklin Park Conservatory where they have the Chihuly ceiling there.
My apologies.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
All right. So definitely a composite. It's interesting. It's mysterious, if you will. I would like to see more sky in it. A little less foreground. I think if you would have cut this off right in here and given me more sky. I'm not sure what you had to work with there. I wasn't there, but I think it would have been a little bit stronger image, but it's different. It's kind of mysterious, like I said. I think you did a pretty good effort on it.
Just a heads up, that wasn't a composite. But either way,
Wasn't a composite?
nope. Dusty Palouse, Vicky Wirt, 22 points.
Where is that? Where is
Palouse,
that?
Washington. It's
Where?
right near Garfield,
Let me see that.
Washington State.
Really? Wow. Wow. That is really cool.
Made me think of Dune.
Yeah.
Okay, we had a number of big cats to judge tonight, and I have to say this was definitely one of the nicer ones. We have really nice focus, a really nice angle, and I think a good job, muting the background to create contrast. I think that's a really nice piece. Part of me is curious, was it taken at a zoo, was it taken in nature? Okay. All right. Well, it's a nice job.
Edgar and Fall, Eric Botsky, 23 points, third place.
This almost looks like another ICM photo. I'm not sure, but it kind of looks like that way. And like maybe it was taken at a marsh or something like that, and you've got the tall grass behind the water. And I also like the way the maker decided to make it almost like a panel going across. That's interesting. I think that looks more interesting than if you'd just done it like a regular 8x10 or whatever. You've got the main focus is that tree, and it's not sitting dead center. It's kind of off to the side a little bit. It's just your eye just kind of wants to go from left to right. Then you've got the little reflection too of the tree in the water. I think this is really nicely done, nice and subtle.
Marsh Tranquility, Bob Koleski, 23 points, third place.
Where was that at, by the way?
Bob?
Aaron Island,
And where is that?
that's in Florida.
Okay.
Cape Canaveral.
I figured it was down in the south, yeah. So we have a detail shot of something. Really want to know what it is, 'cause it's different. I wouldn't have gone with a vertical on this. I would have gone horizontal. I want to see the rest of that oval. That's what I really want to see. Careful under crop on the left-hand side. I wouldn't have cut that off, but it's really unique. I don't know what it is. I like that, but it's killing me. I want to know what it is, and but it's different. It's unique. It's a very interesting piece. I don't know what it is, and I like it.
It's part of a spacecraft that was at the Science Museum.
Oh, okay, cool.
Shuttle Ports by Dan Sandy, 23 points, third place.
Oh, we had so many nice landscapes tonight, and this was one of them. It's really beautiful. The lighting is wonderful, the contrast, having the light, tall reeds in the foreground, having the light hitting the mountains just right in the background. The water is beautifully captured, and I feel like it works, to my mind, very nicely as a vertical. I think it's just a very nice landscape overall.
It's stunning. Great shot. That's good.
Three Brothers, Yosemite, Dennis Wirt, 25 points, first place.
This shot is really nice. There was, like it was mentioned, there are a lot of big cat pictures in this whole competition tonight, and this one was different because the animal was laying down on its side, and it was just like resting. So you got a natural shot on this. To me, it's just a little flat as far as the light and darkness go. I might have brought it out just a little bit more, maybe with just a levels adjustment a little bit, maybe. I thought this was rather interesting to capture the animal like this. Than with most of the other ones, all the animals had their eyes open and stuff. But this was kind of nice because it was resting.
Leopard Sleeping, Eric Wethington, 25 points, first place.
Another waterfall landscape. It's beautiful. I want to see a little more colors kind of popping on this one. That's my big takeaway on it. It's gorgeous. I think this scene could have worked vertical or horizontal. But yeah, I just want to see a little more colors popping on it. Try to bump that up a little bit, unless you were going for this, then for a specific reason. But yeah, it's pretty. Just try to bump the colors up a little bit.
Mountain Runoff, Margot Wethington, 20 points.
This, to me, is a really very beautifully done piece. It's simple, it's just slightly off center, and captured, the movement of the liquid. To me, it almost looks like it could be an ad, very, very perfectly done.
Oh, for sure.
Very, I find it, it's simple, but you manage to get enough contrast in there. I think it's like a very straightforward, very well done piece.
The only small piece of critique I'll give on this is that it really, up at the very top, you cut off a drop of water. And that's the only piece I have, because I want to see that drop of water. But other than that, you did a great job on it.
Curse Splash by Chris Bosworth, 22 points.
I'm fascinated that the maker decided to take this shot. It looks like skin on my body after I've not put any lotion on it. I'm sorry. The design is very interesting. I'm sure the maker looked at this and thought, wow, this is really cool. And I like the way that some of the lines are, they vary in size and in shape and in darkness. It's an interesting shot. And I also like, too, the way the corners are a little bit darker going around. I wish it was maybe just a little bit brighter, maybe just a simple levels adjustment just to bring out the lights and the darks a little bit more.
Mud made it happen. Bob Koleski, 20 points.
I like it better horizontal.
So we have another, what was that term you were using? ICM. This is an ICM? It sure looks like it.
Looks like it.
In the woods, we're on a path, maybe in the metro parks possibly. Really nice greens, fall kind of foliage on the bottom. We got a person in the middle. The composition's there. Personally, me, a little less intentional movement on it for me.
That's
But
hard to do.
yeah, oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I am not good at it. But yeah, no, it's intriguing. The crop's good, the color's good. It's a good photo.
Walk in the Woods, Jill Zapka, 20 points.
Yes. There were lots of wonderful landscapes in the pictorial, and this was one of them. I love the way that tree just kind of grabs you and the way it stands out so wonderfully from everything else around it. I can't think of a whole lot that I would have done to change this. I think it's a really very good take on something that's ordinary, but you've managed to make it look exciting, and I think it's a very strong landscape piece.
Yeah, you nailed your exposure and your coloring on it. It's a very, very good shot.
Tree on the Rocks, Rick Mills, 23 points, third place.
Now, this cat's got personality. I love the look on its face, and it's even got a beard, for those of you that know how much I love taking portraits of beards. The background, the bokeh is just gorgeous. It's nice and soft. His eyes are intact, sharp focus, so are his whiskers. I love the expression on his face, and his eyes are spectacular. And I really like the way you cropped it too. It's very, very nice. I really like it.
Oh, I lost my spot. My apologies. Okay, here we are. Grumpy Snow Leopard by Eric Botsky, 23 points, third place.
Okay.
I really like this shot. I spent a lot of time in the south on the coast, and finding washed up boats or boats on stands is really common. But this is really cool. I love the boat, like the building, the trees, the foreground with those kind of yellow wildflowers in the foreground. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot to make you kind of think about in it. Did a really, really, really good job on it. The only critique, and this might be me being a little critical, kind of want to see a little bit more of the left of the building. Just because I'm curious as to what's there, but it stands up on its own very, very well. So you did a good job.
Forgotten in Maine, Lance Mayer, 21 points.
Okay, so we have jigsaw puzzle pieces, and I mean, very close up, and I assume, yeah, I assuming this is a macro?
Yeah, I
Shot.
believe it would be, yeah. Colors are cool. It's interesting. I don't know. I don't really know what to make of it. It's just
Yeah.
it's very interesting. It makes me think. It's different. I've never seen somebody take photos of puzzle pieces before. So for that, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the colors. I like the composition. It's definitely an
Yeah.
unusual take on something.
Yeah, it's
Very
an
ordinary.
it's an interesting take on something ordinary.
It would be good in a kid's bedroom. too.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Life is a Puzzle, Mike Kopkis, 22 points.
Yeah.
This cat, the eyes are just beautiful on this one too. So sharp and in focus, as are the whiskers. The only thing that kind of bothered me about this, I don't know if the background was real or if it was added later. I don't know. If it was taken at a zoo and the background was added, it doesn't bother me a lot, but it doesn't look like it's natural. I could be wrong, and if I am the maker, I'm sorry. But this is a beautiful, beautiful shot of the animal.
All Eyes on You, Rachel Kovacs, 23 points, third place.
Let's definitely have a lot of creativity going on in this one. It appears to me it's a photo of some sort of mural or painting or something. I don't think this is a composite or anything like that. Kind of reminds me of like those blacklight posters, kind of. You ever see those? I would like to see, regarding the crop, down in the lower right, I'd like to see where that white light on the foremost part of that the base of the pillar, that little blue streak along the bottom, that area is very distracting to me. I would open that up a little bit, get the base of the pillar in there. I think it would be a little more pleasing to the eye. But yeah, it's different. The colors are all over the place, and that kind of makes it fun.
Other World, Marge Brady, 21 points.
Okay, we have another dancer shot. This one, though, is dynamic. He's in the air, and the setting looks like an art museum or a temple of some sort. I'm really not sure which, but I find it a really exciting image, and the fact that he's in white with light clothes, so he stands out against the darkness. Ideally, I think I'd like even a little bit more contrast, because the sides, you definitely get a little bit run together with the similar dark colors. But I do like also that you have the light brightness on the ground, a little in the background. I think it's a really exciting image.
Suspended in Air, Susan Bestel, 20 points.
The golden reflections in the water are just beautiful. And you can see the little bit of sunshine coming down to hit the water. The bird isn't dead center in the photo, which is good. There's some nice lighting on the bird itself, too. The feathers are nicely in focus. I guess I don't know what else to say about it.
Skinny Legs, Jenny Gaba, 19 points.
pumpkins and gourds just in time for Thanksgiving. Really pretty black and white. You love the jet black background. I think your lighting coming off from the left, the kind of maybe over your shoulder a little bit. It's good. It's great. The bottom of the pumpkin, that center gourd or pumpkin, I feel like it's a little dark. I want to see a little more, just bump that up there a little bit or light that just a little bit more. Same with the leaves off that right area. Just give those a little more light. And it's an interesting still of a nice fall kind of Thanksgiving image.
It's different in black and white than you would normally see in a color
Sure,
photograph.
sure.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Almost makes me think of a scratch board.
Abundance, Melanie Plummer, 22 points. Or Plummer.
This looks like it could be a postcard for out west. It's really beautiful, kind of has a dreamy feel to it that I think is lovely. It's a very, actually, I'm not sure where it's taken, but it's, I mean, it comes across as a black and white. I know there's, I believe, a little bit of color in there, but I like that softness. It seems like it's got some nice contrast going where it needs it. I like the recession in back where it gets gradually lighter and lighter. And the composition, I think, is outstanding.
Yeah, the way the river kind of flows right through the photograph, it just takes your eyes through.
Yeah,
Very nice.
using some leading lines
Yep.
with the water there.
Right,
It's-
your
yeah,
S-curves.
Your composition's very, very good.
Misty Morning, Vicky Wirt, 22 points.
I wish I would have seen the last Aurora Borealis, the one they had. I was out there with my cell phone trying to get the first one, and this is really nice. I like the addition of the bush in the front. It gave you a nice foreground. Sometimes when you take pictures of the northern lights, we've got the phone or whatever up in the air, and we've just got it, and there's hardly anything along the foreground, and this is nice. It gives you something else to look at. It's a nice composition, and the colors are beautiful.
Fire in the Sky, Bill Keaton, 23 points, third place.
I want to make one quick comment on it. I know where this is at because I've been there before to shoot the Aurora before. I've stood in the water to get this a very similar photo, and every shot I got, the tree was soft on it. But you nailed it on this one. You did a really, really good job making sure. And that's very hard at that kind of light because it is pitch black out there. To get the tree and those rocks sharp and in focus and get everything right, you did a really good job on that.
What was the score on that one? I didn't hear it.
23 points, it was a third
Okay.
place.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a really interesting photo. I'd love to know where this is at. You have every shade of green going on there. It is really cool to look at. The sky, the blue sky, the contrast between the green trees and the blue sky looks really good. Everything is sharp. I think the composition is good. Yeah, it's really different, and I'm dying to know where this is at.
Glorious Nature, Paul Giglia, 19 points.
Ah, another really, really nice landscape. This one's sharp. The definition in the rock is outstanding, but it's still nice and clear in the back. Yeah, you know, a coastline is kind of a very common subject, but you managed to take this one and really work nicely with it. I like having the flowers in the foreground for the pop of color. And if you look back a little, you do see a lot of different, you know, you have the green, you have the brown, different shades of brown, the water. It's so easy for these to all run together and read flat, and this one doesn't. It has the contrast that I think elevates it beyond a lot of similar pieces. Really nice job.
You definitely use the coastline there and the shape of that to your advantage to add a lot of depth to the photo. And yeah, great shot.
I like the way the sky and the sea kind of blend together. It just kind of gives you a real mystic look in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Coastal Maine, Catherine, I'm so sorry. Catherine, I believe it's Ken Go, or it's Ken Gott. It is Ken Gott. See, I can't read for crap. My apologies, Catherine. 23 points, third place.
This is a very interesting black and white. I love the way the beams of light come off the bridge. You used up your aperture was really high on this one, and the light coming off the help me. The wires are coming off the
The
cables.
cables.
Thank you.
The uplighting on the bridge.
Thank you. Anyone to help me get home tonight? Okay, and it's just beautiful. The black and white is very, very nice. It was just fascinating to look at it.
I'm probably going to screw this up.
That's the
Penobscot Bridge, Mike Lansdale, 19 points.
So we have an air show photo. These are so fun to shoot. I've shot so much of this stuff. It's so fun. The only real critique I have of this one would be I'd like to see you blur the propeller out a little more. You got to make sure you're getting that with prop planes. Blur that whole thing out. Slow your shutter speed down a little bit more. And I would like to see a little more separation between the plane in the foreground and the plane in the background. Maybe just that next frame might have been the one where I could see a little bit more of that plane in the background. Other than that, it's different. It does work how it is now, but make sure you get those props totally blurred out.
Daredevils by Eric Wethington, 20 points.
Oh, this was a very interesting shot. This one dead car, old car, red, just kind of stuck there in the grass with the very green hills behind. I think it's a really fun shot. I think it's a really good take of something that, you know, would be easy to just walk past. I might like a tiny bit more cropping on the sides on this one. I think that getting a little bit tighter would put a little more focus on the car, but still give you enough of that landscape to get the sense of, you know, desolation in a sense. I do like the colors. I like the you know, where you have the placement as far as, you know, height, you know.
I think what I would do, just a little bit less grass on that, in that foreground. Crop that up a little tighter. The mowing lines are what bothers me with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
See,
for
I
me,
like
I don't
those.
see. I want to feel like nobody lives there, you know. But no, it's cool. It's very, very unique.
Ford and Fields, Dennis Wirt, 21 points.
I loved this shot. It grossed me out, but I really liked it. Everything is so it's sharp and in focus. I like the way the wings of the dragonfly or damselfly, whichever one, kind of everything. The body kind of goes off at an angle, and then you've got that neat spider right on top of it. Just the contrast in colors. This is just an amazing shot, and the background is so beautifully out of focus that the damselfly or dragonfly really stands out. You can see all the little veins like in its wings. The colors are beautiful. It's really a great shot.
It's a wrap. Jackie Bosinger, or Bosen, I'm sorry, 25 points, first place.
Okay.
So this is another one, kind of reminds me of a watercolor painting. It's very different. You have a model there. I feel like by doing that effect that you've done to it, you've kind of washed out a lot of her features. And I really want to see more of that, more of her features, a little less of this effect. But if that's what you're going for, on the positive side of it, the colors are really cool. The blues just jump off the photo. The purple with the green, I think it looks really cool. That effect in the lower right, that kind of like bubble, it reminds me of like film when it melts in the projector. Yeah, it's different. It's unique. The colors are fun. Yeah, it's different.
Congress Street model, Gary Merrick, 19 points.
Okay, we have a nice couple of lions here that were definitely taken at a zoo. I like the head-on shot. I like the expression. I would definitely like to get better lighting on this one. I feel like you're just, both of them, half of the face is sort of dark. And unless that was intentional, I think you're losing a little something by not having
I would agree.
clearer lighting on the faces.
I'd like to see this in a black and white. If you cut out the female lion and you had just a male lion, you've got some, and up the contrast a little bit on that male, you've got some good light and shadow areas on him. I think that would be something the maker might want to try.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Taking this over to black and white would definitely, it would drastically change it.
Yeah, you see a lot more detail too.
Yep.
Regal Pear, Margot Wethington, 18 points.
This is mine.
I think it's you, yeah.
I really like the way the light is hitting. I think this is a sand dune. And you could tell it's a really windy day because you can see the sand just blowing in the wind. When I first looked at this, I thought maybe it needed more contrast. But if it's a windy day and the sand dune if the sand is blowing all over the place, it's going to kind of diffuse the photo a little bit. I don't know if taking it up a little bit off the bottom to get the black line out of there might add a little bit of geometric interest to it. Do either of you have anything else you suggest?
See, I like the bottom of it, the foreground of it. I
Okay.
like it. It reminds me of a charcoal drawing.
I think you need that darkness
You
at
do.
the bottom.
You do
Okay.
to
break it
offset
up.
the whites
Yeah.
in that. What is this? What is this of?
It's sand dunes.
Is it a sand dune? Okay, I couldn't tell if it was a sand dune or if it was like a snowdrift or something, but it's very, very interesting.
Sandy Storm, Bob Koleski, 21 points.
So another detail shot of a flower. This one was fantastic too. Like I said, background jet black, which is typically what you want for this. The colors in the flower are beautiful. Your focus, you are sharp, almost edge to edge on that flower. You fall off a little on the bottom, but that's perfectly acceptable in something like this. Where it matters is all kind of up there in the middle, and it is razor sharp. You did a very, very good job on this photo.
I'd like a little bit more space on the bottom.
You could do that. That wouldn't hurt it at all.
Just
You could
a
totally
little
do
bit
that.
more.
Yep, you could totally do that, and it would not hurt the image at all.
Labyrinth Dahlia, Marge Brady, 23 points, third place.
Okay, this photo, there's some things about it that I absolutely love and some that I would like, wish were different. Parts of it are definitely not in focus. I love the composition. I love the actual image, having that blue gate, going through, seeing the brick wall, the ivy, and what's inside the courtyard or open area. I like that quite a bit. I think we don't need quite as much green as you see there. I think that could have been taken in tighter. And I'd like to see, if it was intended to be sharp there, I'd like to see
I
a
think it was
sharper
intentional.
focus. You think that was deliberately blurred on the sides there?
I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I
'cause
think
I
it was
wasn't
intentionally
sure.
softened a little.
You think it's overall
Yeah,
softened
I think
deliberately?
I think so. I think it might have worked as a vertical though as well.
You're right,
Yeah.
probably a vertical. Because I don't think you need quite as much there on the right.
Correct. I would agree.
Garden Dream, Vicky Wirt, 21 points.
Okay, so green, I wasn't sure because when I looked at it close parts.
This tree is just mesmerizing. I love its shape, and I love the way the branches just kind of go askew all over, and then the oranges and the greens going around it. And it's, I'm assuming that's a tombstone back behind it. It just kind of accentuates the wording on the stone. There's a little bit of greenery coming up from the bottom, the base of the stone coming up. It kind of gives a little more interest to the mass of granite, I suppose. But this tree is just beautiful. I wish I could have gotten something like this, but I really like the way the colors blend together within the leaves going around it. It's very pleasing to the eye.
Burning Bush, Melanie Plummer, 21 points.
Just adding to our waterfalls we saw tonight. This is gorgeous. Again, I don't know if this was the same person that had maybe one of the other ones, but if it's not, it doesn't really matter. The water's perfect. It's smoothed out. You have that long exposure going on. Just smooth the water out. You did a very good job at it. The colors of the trees, I think everything is very, very good on it. Very sharp from the foreground to the background to that slate wall in the back. This is a really, really pretty photo.
Don't you also like the way the water is going in two different directions? You
Yes.
have it going one way and then off.
Yeah, it almost makes me want to just, if you turned your camera just a hair to the right, I think it would have just been even a stronger image because we saw a little more of that water cascading down to the lower right-hand side. But the photo's fine as it is, I think.
Watkin Glens Falls, Rick Mills, 24 points, second place.
Really nice detail shot of one of these, I don't know, is that a milkweed? With the fuzzy stuff spilling out.
Yes.
Yeah. I like the detail. I like the way that the stalk comes up and doesn't quite touch there, from the corner up to the right. And I think it's nicely balanced. There's, you know, when you have something where you have a lot of brown, it's easy for it to run together. You have, you know, a fair bit of contrast there, and it's just a pretty shot.
The shallow depth of field on this really accentuates the milkweed in the front, especially even the colors. It doesn't distract. It's very nice.
Milkweed blowing, Catherine Kengat, 22 points.
Of the two waterfalls, I kind of like this one the best, as Tom was mentioning, just turning the camera just a little bit to the right so you could see some of that water cascading down. Of the two shots, I really like this one almost the best. You've got leading lines of the rocks kind of going back into the waterfall like this, and then from the waterfall, you've got your eyes come back out and follow the river coming back out from beneath the falls. The colors are nice and subtle. There's nothing really too bright that distracts from your eye. Looking at this, you've got nice layering in the rocks going up on the right hand side. I really like this one. It's beautiful.
Ivana Glenn, Eagle Cliff Falls, Dave Korosek, 24 points, second place.
Okay.
Covered bridge. It's really pretty. I just for me, the shadows on the bridge from the trees are just taking away from it just a little bit. I'd like to see a little more light on that bridge. It might not be possible with where it's at. With that being, if that's the case, you got to work with what you have. It's pretty. It's very beautiful scenery. The trees and the sky are exposed well. The foreground grass, your color in there is very good. I don't know if I would have went for as tight of a crop up and down. It kind of leaves me wanting a little more in the foreground. I want to know where that water comes from or where it goes, but it's pretty.
What if the maker, what if they darkened down that really bright spot that's on the bridge? If they darkened it down just a little bit so it wasn't standing out quite as much, would that have made a difference as far as the lights and shadows against the bridge?
I think I would have tried to pull up the shadows a little bit
You
more.
think more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have tried to pull up, bring up the shadows a little bit more. That's my only real I don't even even distraction's I feel like too harsh of a word for it. But I would just try to tinker with those shadows a little bit, and you'd have a much stronger photo.
Bonetka Road Bridge, Dennis Wirt, 21 points.
Yep. I think so. You just went in. Oh,
No, I
you?
just, he did. It's your turn.
Okay, all right. Well, I love dogs, and this is a really wonderful portrait of a dog. The detail is just, the focus is just exceptional. The expression that's captured is really nice. There's a very slight head tilt there. I like the way that the dog's angled a little bit to the right, the way that you have the flowers in the background that are kind of nicely blurred there, so you just get that massive pink. And the dog's personality really shows through in this. It's just a really wonderful shot of the dog.
I have to know, is the dog a girl? Because with the pink, I think that'd be really fun if it was. But yeah, I want to go play ball with the dog.
Buckeye by Rachel Kovacs, 23 points, third place.
Where's, you know, if it was a boy dog, I just want to pee on them.
Here's another one that might look good in a black and white. Even if you brought, if you brought the top down a little bit, if you cropped it down, so you get more of the face in there, and you up the contrast a little bit, and tried it in black and white, it might be very dynamic. Right now, there's just too much brightness on the left-hand side of the photo, and it's pretty dark on the right-hand side. But I think if you really cropped in on it, the whole lion's head, and just converted it into black and white, it might be more dynamic, and you might see a lot more detail in the lion's face. You've got a good start here. I just crop it down and maybe convert it into a black and white.
Mufasa, Margot Wethington, 19 points.
I love this photo. This is great. I've never really seen big cat photos of in going up trees like this before. I mean, I've seen them, but not like this, not that close. The expression, the cat's mouth is open, the eyes, that bright blue eyes. This is a really good shot. Did a very, very good job on it. I don't have a whole lot to add in terms of it being like critical of it. You did a very good job.
Help. How do I get down? Eric Botsky, 25 points, first place.
Okay, this is a really beautiful, really dynamic looking sunset image. The contrast is lovely. It's a little more centered than, I think I'd like it a little off to the side, but the sky is just really nicely captured. And I don't know, this is another one that looks like it could be a postcard. It's very nice.
What about a vertical on that? Then you would get you'd not get all this over on the side, but you'd also get a lot of the light from the sky, and then, but just like where you'd have the setting sun just off a little bit, but more of a vertical.
I would agree on the vertical. I'd take just a little bit of that, water out of the foreground. Bring your camera up a little bit. You're still keeping a large swath of the sky if you go vertical. And then I feel like with that little, island thing that's a little island there in the middle. With that island, with the sun and the lighthouse, I think that being centered on a vertical would actually work really well.
Yeah, the sky is gorgeous,
Yeah.
and then it goes so well with the sun and it's beautiful.
I think this is Lorraine, I think.
Okay, because there's one like that off. Oh.
Fairport Harbor Lighthouse Sunset, Dave Korosek, 22 points.
I love this, and I like the way the leaves in the foreground are like, some of them are in really good focus, but they really stand out. And then you just follow the photograph, you follow it all the way back to the from right to left, and then your eye takes you back over the waterfalls, and you can see all the individual layers in the stone, and then you kind of go back and around, and you get the trees in the background. I really like this because almost everything was in focus. There was a long exposure because the water is just nicely soft, but it's not too overly soft. And just the light coming in on kissing the top of the trees at the top of the photo is nice, but it's not overly bright either, so it doesn't distract that much. And I think I really like this. I like this waterfall.
Fall at Dory Rocks, Jackie Bosinger, 23 points, third place.
This was a really interesting shot. I like old buildings. I like old things. The sky is very menacing. Got some dark clouds coming in and stuff, but it kind of looks like it's set towards sunset a little bit. Excuse me. The only real critique I have on it, I feel like, and this might be a personal thing, I think the tree in the top is a little distracting. I think it is, because I think it takes away from the sky a little bit. Again, sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. And if that's the case, you know, you made a really good shot with the place you had to take it. It's an old like mill or grain mill or something. It's really cool. It's pretty. It's old. It's fun.
The detail in the
Yes.
building is
The
amazing,
detail-
and the color, the
the
subtle
detail's
colors,
fantastic.
but yet they're still dynamic.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Old Mill on Cuyahoga, Rick Mills, 23 points, third place.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, this is somewhere I've been personally, and it's gorgeous. Watkins Glen is just so photogenic, and this is a fabulous shot of Watkins Glen. It's really captured a sense of the place. It's done a wonderful job with the water. It's done a wonderful job with the focus. I love the composition. I think this is perfect for, you know, I think it's just really cropped ideally for the image. Not sure what else to say about it. It's just taking something that I think a lot of photographers have worked on, but doing an exceptionally good job with it. It's a lovely image.
This is the first time I've seen it with water. We were there and it was
It was-
bone dry.
It's absolutely
That's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
The
Really pretty.
composition, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
The composition's 10 out of 10 on it. It is very, very good. The crop, it's, yeah. You did
And I
a
like
really
the
good
lighting
job.
behind the bridge too is
Yes.
really
Oh,
nice. It
yeah.
really brings out
Yep.
the bridge, yeah.
Nothing is too over the top,
No.
color-wise. Yeah, you did a very, very good shot on that.
Somewhere Under the Rainbow, Falls. David Korosek, 25 points, first place.
Okay.
That's nice. Oh, this is another beautiful waterfall. What's interesting is the way of all the gradations in the rocks along the upper left-hand corner in there with all the leaves on top. It's just pretty. It just looks like maybe it's a cake, a layered cake of some type with an orange cake in the top left. And then you've got the beautiful, you had a long exposure and you've got the beautiful water just coming down and flowing through. It's interesting. Just the whole flow of the whole photograph is really, really nice.
Watkins Glen in fall. Catherine Kengat, 22 points. Just two, that is the last image for our competition this evening. I just have two items real quick. When you are labeling the back of your images, make sure that when you flip the image over, the tag should be in the top left corner. Some people had it rotated, so your image would have been kind of rotated 90 degrees. Also, secondly is, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you matter and people care, so have a great evening.